Welcome back to the podcast, everyone, with Dance Dad with John Corella. And it's been a little bit of a break I've taken, and I wanted to do some fun, joyful podcasts because I know I've done some deep ones. And then when I came across this person who was in the most iconic, amazing movie, I felt I had to do this, and it's going to be so fun. Her name is Cheryl Baxter, and she's a dancer, choreographer, but to me, she is in the most amazing movie ever, and she's a Xanadu dancer. So please welcome to the stage, Cheryl.
Hello. How are you, John? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. Thank you for doing this. And I feel you've done, you said you recently did another podcast. Was it a dance podcast?
I did. It was a TikTok. I'm a TikToker with my friend Beth Bowles, and we're the baby boomers. And so we do a lot of podcasts about our TikTok.
Look at her still going. And that's a whole we could have a whole nother episode about you and your longevity of your career, which is super inspiring. 47 years, correct?
Correct. I came out here in 1978 from a little bitty town in Wisconsin, 363 people.
and she is still doing it. But because of, I brought out those of you looking on YouTube who are watching, I did bring out my Olivia Newton-John album cover. So she is watching over us. I feel I need to focus more on Xanadu. But first, we start off with these 4 questions. Okay. Everyone, you're now a part of the Dance Dad family. And the 4 questions are, what are you feeling? Where do you feel it? What is it saying? And what color is it? And I'll start off first. So what am I feeling? I'm feeling excited. And it is purple because of hello. Well, one, you're wearing purple, blue, but hello.
Hello.
My Xanadu album. You match it perfectly, Cheryl.
I'm in there too, in the middle section.
You are?
Yeah, you open it up and you can see me in there somewhere.
Which number were you in? Because I know the numbers.
I was in the 80s number. There I am. With
Olivia. My God.
So I'm in.
Now you're going to make me cry because I just love Olivia.
I love Olivia.
That's a great picture. So she was in, what was the name of that song, the 80s song?
We got some dancing to do. We're dancing.
And then it went into with like a jazz 40s number, right?
40s and 80s. And my roommate was one of the Andrews sisters, Cindy League. And then there was a big 40s number. And then we were 80s with the Tubes. Remember the Tubes? And then we came together as one.
No, do I remember the Tube? So everyone I know, I just cut off our feelings, but Xanadu is more important. No, don't be sorry. Xanadu is, for those of you that, I feel a lot of the dance moms, dance dads know Xanadu.
Yes.
Those of you that are younger and listening, it would be considered center stage or any type of dance movie that's come out recently. It was my flash dance. It's similar to Grease. The dancing is incredible. I mean, you have Olivia Newton-John, you have Gene Kelly, so my whole point is, if you haven't seen it, go see it and it'll be so magical. But I'm feeling that purple, it's rhinestones. Maybe, I don't know. It's just the rhinestones. And it is saying, I'm so happy, Olivia, I was around to see her perform.
Yes.
So that's what it is. So how are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling reflective and, thinking back to my past and how exciting that was an exciting moment for me because I had just moved out here. First gig I ever booked, first movie. So, it had it's got a lot of memories for me. So I'm reflecting and it's a happiness because I took so many pictures on the set. Because back then there was no social media, so nobody said anything. So I took I'm telling you right now, because Mom has a dance studio. I took like a million pictures.
I'm going to have to, meet you for coffee just to look at that book.
And nobody stopped me. Like I walked up and took this picture of Olivia. I can't believe
Oh, that's the end with the high bun.
I know. And I just walked up and went, snap.
That's
So
giving me goosebumps. Those are some.
Say my color's gold.
And where do you feel it?
In my heart.
And what is it saying?
It's
if it
saying,
had a voice.
It's saying that you should be very thankful that, you know, a new dancer comes to LA, and I feel thankful that I've had the career I've had, you know, because I'm still working, and I got to meet my idol. Here's Gene. That's the finale.
Gene, what was it like? First of all, what was it like meeting him?
Fantastic. I have a journal that I kept that got a little bit moldy in my garage, but I sifted through it before I had to throw it away. And it said the first day I met Gene Kelly, we were doing this Spider Woman dance. Do you remember the Spider Woman?
I remember that, crawling under his legs.
Yeah. And that was, part of it was cut. There's me. And you know how they do that? They film too much and then they cut. So
yeah.
They cut it really down short. But I wrote in my journal that Gene and Olivia came in to watch. That was my first day of filming was October 4th, 1979 in my journal. I'm so glad I kept a journurnal, you know, and it
Smart.
said that Gene came in, met all of us, took pictures with all of us, danced for us. He he loved to tap around. I mean, just like for fun, because he's Gene
Everyone, This is Gene Kelly we're talking about. Just so you know, not, Gene Hackman, Gene Simmons, Gene, which are all great, but Gene Kelly. He is a dance legend.
That's me assisting him.
Now, did you assist him on another job or the same job?
The next Kenny job, Kenny Ortega was the choreographer. Before I jump ahead, the next job he did was a big movie called One from the Heart that was at Zoetrope Studios with Francis Ford Coppola. So after Xanadu, he hired 8 of us to be assistant choreographers to Gene and to Kenny. And so then I got to spend a lot of time with him. And that's
so it seemed as though he was very grateful, very kind and humble. What's one thing that you learned from him being around Gene Kelly?
To relax and just have fun. Because I'm on the set, and now, I did the Spider Woman, I did the finale, and I did the 80s number. And it was with the solid gold dancers, Darcel, Deborah Jensen. They were in there, done that, and I'm the newbie. And I was scared. And I think watching Gene, gave me a sense of relaxation. I mean, he'd been there, done that. This was his last movie. So just watching him have fun. And I thought, oh, I don't have to be that nervous. I can just come out and have fun. I know my dances. We've rehearsed with Kenny for 3 weeks before we even filmed. So
only 3 weeks.
Well, the one number, longer. Just the one number, just the 80s.
For the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, how long did you rehearse for? Well, first of all, what was the audition like for Xanadu?
It was in a big, huge, I think it was in a soundstage at Universal. I'm trying to remember which studio. I'm sure it was Universal. It was a big cattle call because in those days there was no agents. So we just opened up Dramalog and saw Xanadu audition.
Dramalog. Oh my gosh. You're taking me back to when I was a kid that was acting and my mom would take me.
Yes. And you just open it up and then there's the audition and we all went. And my initial audition, I got the Spider Woman part. And then I had moved out here with 3 friends from Wisconsin. And Mark Zabel was one of them who'd gotten in the 40s number. And so after I filmed the Spider Woman, in the 40s section, they were going to move one of the dancers, in the 80s section, they were going to move one of the dancers to be a muse. And so Mark kind of overheard him. And he went to the payphone and called and said, come over to DR Studios. And we were the first people to rehearse Debbie Reynolds studio in that big Studio A.
Yeah.
The 40s and 80s number.
And so just so you know, I think Studio A is also where they rehearsed Thriller. Yeah. Yes. It was a very famous studio, and I was sad when they got rid of it.
Did you get a piece of the floor? I got a piece of the floor.
I didn't. I remember they were doing that. I was more of when I was dancing professionally, more of a Screenland, Alley Cat. Even Performing Arts Center out in
PAC.
I think in Van Nuys, or it was in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
So, okay, back to Olivia.
Okay. So then,
I'm sorry, Jane. Olivia
sorry,
has a part, but what was it like? First of all, what was it like meeting her, and what do you remember about her?
Okay. So Matt Latanzi ended up marrying her after Xanadu. And Matt, and there was about Bluffside Drive was a big place for dancers to live because Joe Tremaine's studio. Did you live on Bluffside Drive?
Bluffside.
10955.
It's the curvy one, right?
It's the one with the weird pool that looks like a kidney.
The big one by it's pretty much Ventura and Lancashire, right?
No, it's down further. It's Ventura and Vineland. So it's right around the corner from where Joe Tremaine's used to be.
Okay, so Matt lived there.
Matt lived there and I lived there. And a lot of Matt's friends were dancers. So we all went to the audition together. So Matt and I, here's Matt. So Matt and I dressed, let's see how we were partners.
Yeah, and he has a daughter with her.
Right, Chloe. So my story is that Matt and I were rehearsing the 80s number at DR Studios, Debbie Reynolds, and we're dancing and we're doing whatever. And Olivia came in to watch and she turned around. Remember those big doors? She turned around and put her hand on the door, turned back and waved at Matt like that. And he's dancing with me. He drops my hand and he looks and he waves and I'm like this. I feel like I was the first person to know because it was the beginning of them flirting with each other. And of course I'm dancing with him and he lives in my apartment building. So sometimes we would ride together and I'm like, what's going on? And then
was that your first meeting of her or like meeting?
My first meeting of her, I think yes. She came in, the Spider-Woman day, October 4th. That's the day she came in and watched
Gene Kelly. You're meeting Gene Kelly and Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't she coming off of Grease? And she was like a huge star back then.
She was the it girl.
Yeah.
Really.
Who would you compare her to now as an it girl?
Who isn't it? Well, Lady Gaga.
Okay. I mean, she's everyone listening. And I always tell people that I teach, she knows her camera. And watch her in any film, especially when she's singing. She knows how to look into a camera like it's you, only one person.
Yes. So I would say, Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift, of course, is the it girl.
So you're there, you're with Olivia, you're with Gene Kelly, you're with Kenny Ortega.
Kenny Ortega, who's my mentor. He started me out. He likes different character types. So I was his Midwestern person, not in Xanadu per se, but then over the years as I worked with him, like One from the Heart and different things I've done with him, Chicago Hope, I'm the Midwestern girl.
I love Kenny. He was a big part in my career and helping me. I think he loves finding new talent. And so I remember him hiring me for a Selena video and bringing me in for the Olympics. And when he did the Olympics, and was always really kind and giving to me and validating.
He was great. I ended up working on the This Is It tour, just in the casting. Greg Smith was his casting director. So I ended up being on the casting team and bringing people in for This Is It. Were you around for that? Or were you? I
was, but I believe I didn't. I had already kind of stopped dancing professionally.
Okay. Yeah. So this was, I don't know how many years ago, 2011. I don't know, a while ago.
Well, not Xanadu. So you're rehearsing, you're there. So what was, first of all, how long did you shoot for?
Well, in my journal, it said we started October 4th. I did. And we shot until the end of December, all the different parts. Now it was non-union. Did you know that?
No. Yes. Please tell me you get residuals.
And it's
you all deserve residuals.
So Tim O'Brien, who is now has been my agent and was my
he used to be my agent.
Yeah, at Clear or at LA or at
I think he's at Clear now.
He's at
he owns Clear, I think.
He was KSA and then he was
LA Talent.
LA Talent. Right. So he and I were really good friends. We used to take Paul DeRolf's class and Joe Trepaine's class together. He stood up for us to get more money when we did the 80s and 40s scene, because we were more featured. So I knew when he became an agent, I'm like, well, you stood up for us when you were a dancer. So yeah, I'm going with you. Because, that's hard sticking your neck out when it's all the union, all the actors were union, but all the dancers were non-union. So
can you not get residuals now?
I don't think so. 1978, and again, we were working with Gene and Olivia, and we didn't think about it. And then my next movie, I became Union, and I was like,
oh, so some people did get residuals, but some people didn't.
Correct. And they can't do that anymore. Can they? I don't know.
I don't think so.
So all the actors were Union, and the muses were probably all SAG. But
I wore this special shirt for you. Do you see? Yeah. A friend of mine a couple years ago had after Olivia Newton-John passed away, she had a Xanadu, kind of a fundraiser for her business at the time. And so I got this shirt. And what do you feel was so special about Xanadu and Olivia Newton-John?
Well, the music, everybody went crazy for the music, so I feel like when and it was the disco scene, and it was the end of the roller skating scene. They were trying to get a really quick movie out. We just had our 45th anniversary, and we all met over in Santa Monica and watched the screening, and it was really fun. And there were a lot of Xanadu fans there. And
I've been to one of those.
Have you? And what they kept saying over and over again.
So years ago, maybe about 15 years ago, I think Darcy had one. Darcy is her name Darcy?
Darcel,
yes.
Yes, I was there. It was the 30th.
At a theater in Pasadena.
Yes, and we all stood out in a line and stepped forward and said what we did. And we watched the movie. We hadn't done one since then COVID happened, and we missed the 40th. So the 45th was fun. Really fun. Yeah.
So you shot, you said, rather quickly.
We shot quickly. So I think, October 4th, and we ended December. But because it was non-union, sometimes the schedule would change. What I was reading in my little journal was that they couldn't keep us on a retainer. And so when we did the finale, some of us got other jobs. I read in the thing that I had a TV gig and I couldn't do every finale day, but I did a lot of the days, but the schedule kept changing. So the 80s and the Fiorucci number, all those were a little more scheduled. But because we were non-union, I think they could flip our schedule around from what I'm remembering.
And I do, obviously, years later, for me, someone who's a Xanadu fan. And, Olivia Newton-John, for me, when she passed away, I think my therapist was even surprised. I had a very emotional response because as a young, feminine boy who loved the arts, I would constantly go back to her in Xanadu in Greece. Just her performances are always so comforting. She's like an angel, like a muse herself. And so I definitely felt a lot of sadness when she passed. Did you feel the same way too?
I did. Well, I was close to her because I used to double date with Matt's best friend, Steve, with them. So after Xanadu.
Okay, hello. We need this tea. If you're allowed, we need something. I know you gave us the wave, but anyway, so you did feel you were upset.
I did. Yes. And she died the day that the movie came out. Xanadu. Did you know that?
No.
Xanadu came out. Was it October? Was it August 8th or 9th? She passed on the day that Xanadu was released originally in 1980.
What do you feel is so special about her in Xanadu?
Olivia? Well, like you said, I mean, everything about her was so pure and real. And she was just like you saw. I mean, her personality to me was very approachable. And that's what I felt her singing style was, very approachable, like girl next door. We had no problem going up and just sitting and chatting with her. And again, with my camera, she would.
Yeah, that picture you have of her leaning over in her that end scene with her being Olivia. Or Kira.
Kira. I just took so many pictures and she'd be like, there was very approachable. Don't you think? I mean, when you're watching her sing, she's pure. Like that voice of hers had that pure.
Yeah, like an angel. Yes. I don't know if it was my dad or someone, but it was around that time, maybe early 80s. She was still really big, like when Physical came out.
Right.
And someone said they saw her at Beverly Center. And she was by herself, and the elevator door opened, and they were waiting for the elevator, and she was in it by herself. And he said when she walked out, it was first you're in shock because it's Olivia when the door opened. And then two, she just was like an angel. like look wise. I mean, beautiful. I mean,
beautiful.
That face was meant for film.
And I know that she had a special relationship with Gene, the two of them. And they came back. They said at the 45th that there wasn't a number with them. So after the movie had wrapped, maybe in December, they came back and did Whenever You're Away From Me, this tap, the little tap number.
Do you feel, maybe you don't know, but was she nervous dancing? Because she danced with Gene Kelly, and then she's dancing with you all. How did she handle the dance scenes?
I think really well. She was well rehearsed. I think in those days, now you know how you do a film or television and you sometimes meet in the morning and film in the afternoon, or you get like 2 days pre-production. You don't get the long rehearsal days. I think she had a lot of rehearsal. I do.
That's good to know though, because you've been in the business. You've seen it change so much behind the scenes, everything. So you feel that they're about money.
I think, they don't want to pay what they had paid back in our day, or my day, from the 70s into the 80s, we had so much rehearsal time.
And that's why, in my opinion,
I know.
Movies, you don't see many movies as iconic as a Xanadu or a Grease, or I don't know why it is kind of the G-rated showgirls, it does have that same element of long rehearsals. I actually had Lindsley Allen on the podcast.
Oh, I love that.
Who was in Showgirls, everyone, if you want to listen, last season. And so it seems like the same dynamic of, big call, long rehearsals,
yes,
long shoot, being beautiful sets too. So my whole point was I moved by the Grove, and I was walking and I looked at this thing and I'm thinking, that place looks like Xanadu. And sure enough, it was the opening shot it's a library, all of you Xanadu fans, but it's by the Grove, and it's where she would roller skate outside. It played the roller rink. It wasn't. But where was the roller rink? On Universal?
Yes. We filmed at Universal. I lived on Bluffside, so I was like 5 minutes away. We had 6:30 a.m. calls. And, they would do things like back in the day, they made my hair. I think you can see where my hair is purple.
I know exactly like when you do that, I'm like, I know your scene. I know where you stood, everything.
Oh my God. So they bleached my hair out, which was kind of before everybody was doing it, because it was 79. So the punk rockers had some purple hair, but it wasn't really in yet. So I went around LA with my purple hair, people were like, it was kind of cutting edge. No, it's like, whatever. I was cutting edge. But yeah, so we go in early. So 6:30 a.m. and there was a lot of dancers. And so sometimes I read that we started filming around noon, but they kept us 14 hours sometimes. And it was cold in there. So, you're all bundled up with your sweater, and then, it's time to.
With what is that, golden time either back then, right?
No, non-union, baby. But
then thank you for, thank you. I shouldn't even say, shame on them, but thank you for even doing that, because the dancing is what makes the film. What's your favorite dance number?
I think the 40s and 80s, because I liked the whole feeling of it. I liked being up there with the tubes. And the finale I liked because it was very energetic. It felt like a football game, Xanadu. And we were doing all this crazy stuff in the middle. I'll have to find those pictures. We were doing back bend, those like 80s back bend crunches, over the back.
While they're skating, right?
Wow. Yeah. But you didn't see any of that. You saw the skating, you saw people flying in, but there was like how things get cut.
Victoria Morris.
Lots of agents. Tony Selznick and Victoria and Tim were all in the 80s with me. I'm looking going, oh my gosh, look at all these 8 that went on to be agents. Probably because we were non-union and they were like, no.
What other people that have gone on besides you and Victoria that are in it?
Well, the Solid Gold Girls, which was Deborah Jensen and Victoria. Here's the big picture. This was one of those things they gave. Can you see that?
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Oh, Shelley Pang used to be an agent with Tim. Remember Shelley?
I do remember her.
Yeah, Shelley was in the 80s. Matt. Yeah, now I'm seeing a lot. There's a lot of people that went on to be dance studio people or teachers. I'm looking at this picture. A lot of people did move away or go into other things, I think, from this. Miranda Garrison. Miranda.
Oh, of course. I saw Miranda at Hollywood Dance Theater recently.
Oh my gosh.
And I was teaching young girls, and they don't really ever see me get starstruck, obviously the young girls, but they were confused because they didn't know who she was. And I brought her in and said, I want you to know, they saw me really starstruck over her, how amazing this woman is and all her contributions to dance.
Yes, I worked a lot with her on a lot of movies. She became a choreographer for a long time. And Sandy Gray, did you remember Sandy Gray? She was in it, and she did Grease also. She's
Now, were you didn't live out here to do Grease, correct?
No, but I did Grease too.
What? I have a 2-for-1. No, you didn't. Please tell me you're not in the bowling scene.
No. I was in Back to School. We're going to go back.
In the very beginning. I'm a student history.
Yeah. And I was in the luau, which was freezing cold, and we filmed it in October.
You probably could have been one of the twins to me, but you don't have a twin.
The Seagal twins. Yeah.
What was it like working on that with Michelle Pfeiffer?
Well,
I mean, what was her big?
We didn't know who Michelle Pfeiffer was. And you have like 100 dancers going, who is this? And I feel bad because we were a little like, you're not Olivia.
You're being shady, Cheryl.
I'm not going to lie. Well, we were nice, but we were like.
No, I get it. Because it's kind of like, who's this? I did that with Lady Gaga once before she was Lady Gaga. And now look at her.
I know. Look at Michelle Pfeiffer. We were all like, it's no Olivia. So I do.
Yeah, she had some tough shoes to fill. But what was it like being doing that?
It was fun. It was, Grease was such a big deal that, a lot of the people were back. Didi Khan and, a lot of the characters were back for Grease too. But
not Olivia.
Yeah. But you're not Olivia. That's so terrible because she was singing and she wasn't the singer Olivia was. She was having trouble with some of the dancing and she got better, but sometimes dancers, we can be we were not.
And that was Pat Birch, right?
Pat Birch. And I have a whole bunch of Grease 2 pictures from backstage on the set.
You'll have to send me those.
I don't know what was wrong with me. I kept saying, I'm just sending them to my mom's dance studio in Avoca, Wisconsin, because there was no social media. So they weren't as,
So, I know we're talking about Xanadu and Grease, but the more I talk to you is, what was the last thing you danced in?
I just did, I did the Descendants too. Not Descendants. What's it called? Accountant. Sorry. Okay. I went to Kenny Ortega head. Accountant 2, where we did a little line dance with, Ben Affleck is the accountant. So there's an accountant 1 and an accountant 2.
So you did, this is what, 2024 you shot it?
Yeah.
So any advice for people that think they're 30 years old that are listening to this thinking my dance career is over? Any advice and how did you do it?
You have to keep moving and you have to keep reinventing yourself, which is why I went into TikTok 5 years ago, because Beth and I, we reinvented ourselves. You kind of have to stay up on everything that's new. And my agent, I've been with Clear Talent Group and they send me out. I'm kind of,
Do you deal with Misha Getz?
Yes. She's my agent.
What's interesting is right now I'm actually, everyone too, I've been producing the Brandy and Monica tour with Frank Gatson. So I've been kind of similar to you, putting on different hats. And that's another thing. I think people, as you get older, it's not a negative. I think sometimes dancers limit themselves because we're very obedient and we're used to being told what to do. Mm-hmm. When if you open your mind, you can do a bunch of different things. So I was calling to book one of the dancers and I saw Misha's name. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I used to teach her when she was 12. I choreographed her bat mitzvah dance. I know it's a small, as you know, the dance community is very small, everyone.
Tiny. And speaking of Chris Judd, actually my last job was night court. Chris hired me and Troy Christian to do a disco dance.
Do you still take class? Do you take ballet?
I teach. So I teach at UCLA and I teach at AMDA. I teach Broadway styles. I teach jazz. I teach tap. I teach dance and movement to actors. So I'm dancing every day, basically. And my mom still has her studio. She started her 79th year of teaching dance on Monday. She started her own studio in 1947, and she's 95 years old, and she's never stopped. So she's
in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. So she's my role model. I can't stop till she stops.
So was your mom a dance mom?
No, because she was the dance teacher of the whole studio. So I was always in the corner, like putting my own makeup on, and people would go, "Oh, somebody go help Cheryl. Betty's like running the show."
Did you do Dance Caravan or Dupre? Because I'm sure that was a big thing.
Dupre and Tremaine are the reason I came out to LA. We did Dance Caravan, Olympic, PDT.
Dance
Olympus. Yeah. So we did all that. That's how we would have to go to New York or LA and then bring back all of the information to teach at the studio. Because in those days, there was no videos. There was nothing online. You had a video camera maybe, but.
No, yesterday I didn't go to the Atlanta auditions. We had LA auditions for Brandy and Monica, but yesterday I was able to tap in through Zoom to watch the audition.
Oh I mean, that's so great. I know. And back then you had to travel. You had to travel. But I do.
So what do you love about dance?
What do I love about it? Everything. I do. When I went to New York when I was little, I used to go to Pippin, and I saw original cast of Pippin and original cast of Jesus Christ Superstar. And it just opened up this whole thing in me of, you can make money as a dancer. I always thought I was going to be a dance teacher. And then I would go to New York, and all the people would say to me, well, when are you moving to New York or LA? And I'm like, what? I was 12. I had no idea that you could make money as a dancer. So I thought, okay, I can do that.
That's surprising, because I would think your mom would have maybe let you know that, because she's in the dance community.
Well, she did, but we're in the middle of Wisconsin. So she's from Milwaukee, actually. So she was a little bit of a bigger town. And so we were kind of learning as we were going. We were looking, of course, she grew up watching Gene Kelly movies, and, it was in her head. We just didn't know how to do it. So then when we went to all these conventions and met all these people, then that's how we were like, oh, I can move to LA.
You could have put your dancing shoes up after Grease 2.
I said that to somebody once. I could have just gone home and.
Yeah, I mean, we're here 45 years later talking about Xanadu. Now, I will say, I'm sorry, Olivia, that I'm saying this, but I know it wasn't critically accepted back then.
It was not.
Why do you feel that was?
I think what I heard at the 45th was they were writing the script. It was going to be just a really quick roller disco movie because of all the roller skating that was happening in that time. So they were going to do it quick and sweet and fast. And then Olivia got signed and Gene Kelly got signed, and they were like, we have to write a script. So I think the dancing, the music, everything was fantastic. I think the script was what was holding it back. Because in those days, people were used to, it was this 1980. So people, I think, were used to a little more of a storyline. I had a little more bite to it.
They got in their head. They stopped having fun, like you said early on.
Yeah.
Because it probably was super fun the way that it was, but then they thought it wasn't good enough for these big stars.
Right. So, and I know they were writing every day. They said that they would write a script or write a scene and throw it out, and write a scene and throw it out. And so it's probably the storyline. But then it became a cult movie. So here we are, all these years.
Like I said, it's the G-rated Showgirls.
It is.
It's one of those. It's really well done. Who directed it? It's probably on the back of here. Let me look.
Yeah, look in there. My brain is not remembering. I've known for years.
Robert Greenwald.
There you go. Robert Greenwald.
My favorite number, favorite dance number is, my favorite song is Suspended in Time.
Oh, yeah.
And that whole look. I think it's an amazing shot how they even come down from her. It's one shot, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Graphics were very different back then, but it works perfectly for that. And then I think I might agree with you. And I'm not playing to the audience right now, is your section of
the
80s
and 40s. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you had, Miranda, and is it, rest in peace, Russell Clark.
Yes. Russell Clark.
Yeah. Their whole,
Russell Clark.
I think they had kind of a duet when they met. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really,
Let me see where
that's one of my favorite things. I feel like you're going to pull a picture out.
I am.
Of Russell. Well, you can always send it and because he actually judged me on Star Search.
He did?
Yeah, when I was 15, which is, again, small world, everybody. Dance moms, don't burn bridges.
There's Russell.
Wow. Who was the guy, the zoot suit guy?
I'm trying to remember. I think he passed away as well. But that was
And then who's the girl? Do you know who the girl is?
I do.
But you're forgetting. Yeah, I get it.
I haven't seen her since Xanadu. So it is 47 years ago. But I'll send you some pictures. I've got so many of them.
So what's another piece of advice mentally? You said physically to keep moving, but mentally.
Keep taking class. I think you have to just put yourself in a place like when you don't get a job, you just go on to the next one. You know, people get like, what was wrong? What happened? I mean, if there's something you need to work on, like somebody says, oh, I don't turn well. Oh, Cynthia Rhodes was in Xanadu with us, and she was my roommate for a while.
What?
Yes.
Okay, you can't. Now you're talking about staying alive. You are the trifecta.
Now I didn't do Staying Alive because I was doing Sophisticated Ladies in Vegas. But here's Cindy and me.
Wow. Where did she come from?
Nashville. So I started about her because she always felt like she was a gymnast and she took dance, but she wasn't like a turn. She used to get so nervous about her turns, right? She'd be like, I can't turn, you know? And so she'd work on them. And I'm just saying there's certain things, maybe you don't do as well. And back in the day, I'm talking the 70s, Tim O'Brien comes forward and does 8 turns and takes his shirt off in the middle of the 80s number, right?
Michael Rooney did that in Staying Alive too.
Exactly. So not everybody turned like they turn now. Because I think everybody's dancing more now because everybody's dancing, we were on our bikes and running around. I danced every day because I had a dance teacher mom. But back in the 70s and 80s, people didn't, take their kids to dance school every day. So it was more of it wasn't an even playing field when I came out here. Not everybody was, tap, jazz, ballet. Now it's a little more even because everybody does comp dance, right? And everybody can do
dance competition. I teach a 11-year-old and she just did 8 pirouettes.
Right.
She's 11.
Right. But that wasn't normal in our day because people were on the playground and they weren't.
And technique changes, just like,
exactly.
You look at gymnastics, what Nadia was doing is very different than what Simone Biles is doing.
Exactly.
So I think and I think we should allow things to grow. And it sounds, that's what I can tell about you is you are okay with growing your dancing, even accepting,
Well, when hip hop came in,
was it hard? I know for a lot of my female friends that danced, them getting older has been hard. Even that movie Last Showgirl really hit them.
Right. Oh, right. Right. You have to find your niche. Like I produced the choreography awards with Alan Walls. Did you know that? I don't remember. Yeah.
I didn't, but I love Alan.
I've done that 11 years now. So that keeps me informed of what's going on. We have a voting panel. We have 8 categories. So I kind of keep up with everybody that's coming in that's new. And that's another thing that's, I think, helped me in the long run. Because somebody will be like, Chris Judd, he'll be like, hey, come and do night court. I just saw you at the voting panels. I'm like, okay, great.
But how did you deal with, this is even for me too, but especially, like I said, a lot of my female friends, how did you deal with getting older as a female dancer when it's all about your looks and talent?
Right. Well, you have to let yourself cross over. You have to go, okay, I came out here at 20. So I was doing a lot of commercials in the 80s because everything was big and over the top and smiley. And as an actress and a dancer. Then the 90s hit and it was a little more, hip hop was coming in. That was what was hard for me because I was choreographing and assisting all the choreographers in town, like Kenny, Walter Painter. I was doing the Academy Awards. People were handing me jobs to choreograph. So I was on the ladder. And then all of a sudden hip hop and, somebody like Wade comes in at 18 or 16 and starts to choreograph. And we're like, wait.
Or Jamie King.
Or Jamie King. And Jamie King's from Wisconsin. I knew him at his old dance studio. He was at my friend's dance studio in Wisconsin.
I love Jamie. Yeah. He choreographed the academies at a very young age.
Very young. So it wasn't that way when I was coming out here. Everybody was 40 plus. Kenny was one of the youngest choreographers I probably worked for in the late 70s. Everybody was 40 and older. And all the Carol Burnett dancers, they taught me. They were my mentors. And they did all the Academy Awards. I was the 20-year-old with all the 40-year-olds dancing. So in my head, dance had a long career because they were still dancing. They were still the dancers in town. They were still making SAG money. And then the young ones learned, we all, were mentored by the Carol Burnett people, all the people that were in, all the TV shows and the specials. So that kind of shifted, but then you kind of have to go with it. And then I started choreographing and doing more theater. And I still did TV and film, but when hip hop came in, it became more of the younger person's game and the younger choreographer's game than those of us that were heading up into our 40s or 50s. So then
be okay with crossing over. You have to allow yourself.
You do. And I had to allow myself to become the mom, in the commercial. Then I had to be the older woman, grandma.
And those moms, they make a lot of money in commercials.
Do. I did a lot of commercials as a mom. I was not sad about that. But again, like you say, hats, I always say hands in pots, I did commercials, I did print, I did,
And I believe your kids are performers as well, too.
Ellington's in the band. He was R5 with Ross Lynch, who was a Disney star. Remember Ross that was on Austin Valley? So it was Ross, Riker, Rydell, Rocky. My married name is Ratliff. So Ellington started 14 years ago. And
I remember seeing you all. I was at the Kids' Choice Awards I have my Kids' Choice right there for dance moms. And I remember, I think they were there, and I remember seeing you, and I remember someone telling me that your son, I thought it was your daughter, because there was a blonde girl, but must have been.
That's Rydell. So there was a family of the Lynches. They're all related. And then my son was the drummer. And now they've had to age up because they were known as R5, which is known as the Disney band. So now they're called the Driver Era. So Ellington just got off tour, on the 18th of July, and he toured for a couple of years. He's been basically touring probably for 14 years.
So he went the music route.
He did. Well, I named him Ellington because his dad and I met in Sophisticated Ladies, which was a Duke Ellington musical with Gregory Hines. And then I did that show for years. I set it all over the world. And then we thought, well, we'll name him Ellington. And he goes, well, what do you expect? You name me after a musician.
I love that. I love all of this. And but
he also danced for a while too. He was a dancer.
Did you train him, or where did he train at?
He trained at the Rage. He trained at LABA, Andrea Paris. He trained out at PAC. He went all over. And then he started doing Millennium and hip hopping. But he kind of went into music. We did the Muppet movie together. Remember the Muppet movie with Jay? Did you do that?
Oh, I thought you meant the one back in the day in the 80s. I was going to freak out.
No, the one with Jason Segel.
I did not do the Michael Rooney one. I did do 500 Days of Summer with you, though, I think.
Yes. Woo, woo. That's right.
Which was such fun. That was so fun.
That was fun.
Michael.
I was a mom. I was a mom in that. I was I don't know. I had like a.
Guess what I was?
What were you?
A gardener.
A gardener. I was going to say a policeman.
Thank you. No, I wish I was a doctor, but I was a gardener.
You were a gardener.
I think they were typecasting me.
It was
you could tell that movie was going to be special too.
Yeah.
By how everyone had, and I think it comes from the top down. Michael creates such a fun environment, and he really trusts his dancers. You've worked with a bunch of different dancers, age ranges. What do you see what do you love about this new generation of dancers?
I think they go for it. There'll be a group of 5 or 6 of us over 50 or 60 or whatever we are now. And so we'll be, dancing around, doing our little thing. And then the new dancers are flipping and jumping and, going off tables and just doing amazing things. And when I watch the choreography awards, when we have it, which is November 17th coming up, those people, we get like 8 live or 6 to 8 live numbers. Just watching them rehearse and how fast they are. I think they're super fast learning. Don't you think? I mean, because they've been dancing all their lives, those people.
Yeah, I think they can pick up quicker. I think they are the girls I teach, they're on stages like once a month in a competitive environment. So they get so used to being in front of people, failing in front of people, where people like you and I, we would have recitals and maybe a competition here and there, but I think they're more willing to fail. I think that's why they go for
That's
it.
a good point.
But where for me, like failure was back then was like, no, you got to be perfect. That's why I was a good Marguerite dancer, because I made sure I never fell out of my turns. What do you feel they need to work on, this newer generation?
Sometimes I call it the competition face. Sometimes I want to feel a little more the realism of it. I see it more in contemporary. I do feel that they get into what they're feeling, but sometimes that plastic smile, I think, I see it.
These are good things to know. And I hope they're listening, because you've been, dancers, as much as you love dance, eventually you're going to have to cross over.
You are.
And sometimes we cross over younger than normal because of injuries. Have you had any injuries?
I had my hip replaced last year. Just from
tapping. Was that your first big injury?
That was my first. I don't think I've had anything else.
Pretty good.
I've had a little like shoulder pull. I was doing Chicago Hope with Kenny, and we turned with tennis shoes on because we were in like scrubs, and my foot stuck, and I had little injuries like that, but they would go away. But my hip but I'm back dancing better than ever. I was limping pretty bad. I had no cartilage.
But she's back dancing, everyone. Some of us, like me, broke my foot 3 years ago, and I'm still mentally, scared to jump on it. So back, I have a couple of things here that I have a picture too. Somebody gave this to me. I used to teach her niece, and she signed it to me. You probably know who she is.
Oh, there it is.
And I believe she was this muse.
What's her name? I couldn't see the name on there.
This muse here.
Oh, Terry Beckerman. Yeah, Terry Beckerman. Yes. She's, I think, who I replaced. I think she was in the 80s number, because people thought back then we looked alike, because we both did a little.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I actually thought maybe you were a muse. So did they have for the muses, was that a separate audition? Was that the same audition and they picked from that?
Maybe. I don't remember how they were picked. Sandal Bergman's a friend of mine. Well, Sandal's, she's still.
And hello, everyone. She's in All That Jazz. Take off with us.
We love Sandal. We were all at the 45th together.
Sandal Bergman.
Sandal, Terry, me. Yeah, we were all there.
I mean, amazing. People. I get excited just hearing their names, only because they've inspired me. And I don't, do I feel... It's weird. I feel reality TV now has inspired dancers, but I don't know if there's a lot of new film with, Sandal Bergman was in All That Jazz. So, of course, I know her from Take Off With Us. Cynthia Rhodes was in Dirty Dancing, Staying Alive. Now I know Xanadu. So that's something that hopefully we all work on. And then I also have, this got funny.
Oh,
I have an 8-track, everyone. I use it as a coaster.
Does anybody know what that is?
I know. I use it as a coaster. I found it years ago, but
that's so great.
Well, thank you for taking me, making me feel joy, and for all the joy you brought on that film, on that set. Another question I would say is, when you're shooting so much, last question is, how did you keep yourself grounded doing Xanadu?
It was like
getting up so early.
I'll have to tell you, when you put all those dancers together, and it's a lot of our first movie, and it's Olivia and Jean and Kenny, it was a party every day. It was so much fun. Even though it was cold on the set, it was long hours. We didn't want to be anywhere else. And I learned a lot because, that Steadicam came out, and I didn't know you could move around it. I was like, Kenny told me to stand here. So, I'm going to stand here. Well, then all of a sudden out comes, the Solid Gold girls, and they're moving around the Steadicam, and nobody tells you these things when you're on the set. The
Steadicam had just come out because it was invented from The Shining. I don't know if you knew that, but
no,
the running through the hallways, Stanley Kubrick,
that makes sense.
Him and the guy there invented a way so it wasn't shaking.
Oh, well, see, and I didn't know we could just move around it. And nobody was really there directing because we were just kind of freestyle dancing in that one section. But I watched I learned, that's another thing. If nobody tells you, just kind of watch, go on the set and see what people are doing. And most of the time you're choreographed and it's, not as free. But in this free moment, I'm going, wow, I can go around the Steadicams. Just things you learn on the set. But I think it was a party every day. I do. And it was October till December. And we were learning all these different numbers. When we walked into that finale scene, that whole set was just like magical. We're doing the Xanadu middle thing, and everybody's coming out, and there's the big Xanadu sign, and it was great.
Xanadu.
Yeah, yes, and that's when we're doing the crunchy back bends. I'm going to send you that. That never got in the film.
What's your favorite Xanadu song?
Probably Xanadu. I think whenever I hear it, it just brings that whole finale back to me.
Mine is Magic.
Yeah, you like Magic.
That wasn't in the movie though, was it? I don't think it was. I think they did like a separate one. Yeah. And obviously the beginning where was the painting?
Do you know?
I
don't, because I wasn't amused.
I want to go there now.
I never heard where it was. Oh, and before I leave you, I did want to tell you my Olivia story really quick, because we started it. When I started double dating with her and Matt and Steve, she invited me to her house for New Year's Eve, and she came in a huge Gone with the Wind red dress, opened the door. I didn't take my camera because I was at her house, so I have no pictures, only a memory, which is fine. But Leif Garrett was there, and Rod Stewart was there, and Kenny, and we danced the whole night away at her house on New Year's Eve, 1980. That's how I brought in 1980. It was so much fun. And she was so gracious. Experience. So over the years, I would see her and Matt, I'd see him at the Academy Awards, or I'd be dancing at the awards, and she'd get me into like the after party, And
he's in Australia now, right?
I don't know. I was in touch with him a couple years ago on Facebook, Matt.
Yeah.
He went off the grid for a while. He went off the grid. And then I guess maybe he is in Australia. I don't know. I have to write it.
Olivia and Xanadu, it's eternal. It is, it'll be, it's eternal, and you'll see more how much it's inspired, and thank you for doing this. I do have some last questions that are more fun.
Okay.
They're like Jeopardy questions. So just straight off the bat. So what's your favorite Broadway show?
Jesus Christ Superstar. First show I ever saw. I've always loved it.
Favorite dance movie? Doesn't have to be Xanadu.
Oh, dance movie. Singing in the Rain. I call that a dance movie. That's where I grew.
It's only the dance movie.
The dance movie. Because that's when I first fell in love with Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor. I got to work with him.
What's your fondest memory of Gene Kelly on set?
On set. Well, he asked me to go to the Paris Opera and teach the ballet dancers how to tap. That's my favorite. And he used to call me at my house and tried to get me a visa to go over to the Paris Opera. And the Parisians wouldn't give me one. They said, it's not for Americans. It's a Parisian job. And he's like, but I'm Gene Kelly. And I wonder. So I got to tap dance with him one day, just him and I, because Kenny said, Cheryl's a tapper. She's grown up tapping all of her life. You need somebody to go to the Paris Opera, because he knew the head of the Paris Opera. They wanted a tap teacher. So I would have gone for a whole year. I'd probably be over there now. I wouldn't know you. I'd probably have little French grandchildren running around. I keep hitting my mic. My husband's like, what? I wouldn't know you. So that's one of my big memories, is that I got to tap dance with him in a room, just the two of us, because Kenny set that up. So that's why Kenny was always my mentor.
I had a moment like that with Paula Abdul.
Did you?
And Paula Abdul and Prince. But those moments when you're alone with them and they're being creative, I just remember sucking, like being a sponge, so to speak.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite choreographer?
I have a lot. I've worked with Marguerite a lot. Zach Woodley, he put me in Glee and Palm Royale, and he's been very, very, very good to me. I have a lot. I love them all. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. And you can book her at Clear Talent Agency. She loves you all.
I love you all. Hire me.
What's your favorite style of dance?
Oh, tap. I've been tapping since I was 2 years old. I came out with tap shoes on. My mom's a great tapper. I worked with Gregory Hines, and all the great tappers. I did the movie Tap, and there was all those fabulous tap dancers.
I remember that. That was on the cover of in my dance studio. She had it on the wall in the tap room, of course. Well, and Fabulous, is that where Fabulous Feet is from? That song?
No, that's Tap Dance Kid. Oh, so the movie Tap was all the, it was Sammy Davis Jr., the Nicholas Brothers, Gregory Hines. It was a big movie we did at Universal, and we were union. Well, once you go union, you can't go back. So that Tap's my favorite, and I teach tap.
Who's your favorite dancer?
My favorite dancer. Wow. That's a hard one. There's so many.
I know.
I mean, of course, Gene Kelly. Of course, Gene Kelly was always my favorite, and Donald, because they were.
What do you think is special about Gene Kelly's dancing?
Smooth. He's athletic, and he's. I liked Fred Astaire, but I liked Gene Kelly better than Fred Astaire. Fred was a little
more likable, down to earth. Gene Kelly.
Yeah. I like that he did his own tricks. I liked. I mean, there's a lot of dancers now I love, but I'm just thinking what brought me into. Sid Charisse, she, watching her and again, Singing in the Rain. Cause that was actually my mom showing me that, because that was my mom's era. So that's kind of what brought me in as Sid Charisse.
What's good is, makes me feel good is that when I do, cause I still teach some young kids, is I teach them we call it like, when I'm running their solo, like let's have a Beyonce break. Let's have an Olivia break, to like, look at how they performed on stage. Mm-hmm. And so I know that they're learning and knowing who these iconic people are, but also, learn who Cheryl Baxter is and learn who John Corella is. And, cause they're going to be like us.
Right. Right. And you've got to change with the times. Yeah. So that's why I'm happy. TikTok came around. I've been on it 5 years. I dance every day on TikTok almost. So we do a lot of dance trends. We're the dancing boomers because we're the boomers.
So dancing boomers, they can find you on TikTok.
The baby boomers. Because we backed up the baby on the Grammys. Another clear talent. Woo-woo. They just called us to come in for Charm LaDonna. And we danced on that and The Perfect Couple. So I love Charm. I love the phone calls. When you get older, you don't audition anymore.
You're right.
You just get the phone call. That's my favorite thing. That's why I keep.
But also, you probably are really good to work with. You've kept good relationships.
Mm-hmm. Networking is good. When somebody asks you somewhere, show up, right? Because that happens to me all the time. I'll go to some show. I'll see somebody. They'll be like, "Oh, Cheryl." Next day, hey, can you do this gig? Out of sight, out of mind. You got to, and do it just naturally. I don't push. I don't call people.
Yeah, don't do it. I'm not with an agenda.
No. You just show up, you're going to see somebody's show, and then all of a sudden you talk to somebody and they call you the next day.
Yeah. Be a good person and just
have fun. Have fun.
Where can people find you on Instagram?
Instagram, I have two. I have, my funny Instagram is Ratliff's Mom R5 when Ellington was in R5. That's mine. So it's RATLIFFS, Ratliff's Mom. I never changed it because, back when he was R5, it was all the rage, right? I sound like I'm from the 20s. And then Da Baby Boomers, DABABY Boomers. And that's Beth and I, because of being with the baby on the Grammys. And that was fun. So, we kind of caused a ruckus because we did Rockstar. And they were like, who are these older people behind the baby? He's a rapper. And then there's all these older people.
No, I think it's great.
Fun.
Yeah, and fun. Well, last question.
Okay.
What's one of the boldest things you've done?
Boldest. Wow. That is a good question. Boldest. Man, that's going to trip me up. I'm trying to think. Because I always think of everything as I'm a yes person. Like if something scares me, I'll say, I'm going to do it. Like sometimes I'll do the SAG Awards as like a SAG actor, they call it, where it's stand-in, but we have to do all the dialogue. Mm-hmm. And so you're being those people. And for some reason that always scared me because I'm not, you had to make up your speech and you've got to run around. And I don't know, for some reason, not that it's bold, it's just scary. I do things that scare me. Yeah.
So that's bold.
Yeah. It's bold.
Facing your fears is bold.
I go out of my comfort zone. I choreograph a lot of musicals, and I feel like that's always bold because you're taking another project on. And, I don't know, for some reason that always scares me. I do things that scare me. Yeah. So that's bold. Yeah. I go out of my comfort zone. I choreograph a lot of musicals, and I feel like that's always bold because you're taking another project on. And, And, you know, I choreograph probably 2 or 3 musicals a year at Musical Theater West or 5 Star or, you know, whoever hires me. I feel like that, you know, you don't have much time. You have 10 days to set a 2-hour show. So talk about, and get to the theater and then, you know, you've got like 3.5 days to put it on stage with the orchestra. I feel that's bold. Sometimes I look at it and go, oh, can I do another one? It's so much work. And then I'm like, yep, going to do it.
That is bold. And I feel that your generation of baby boomers didn't really, because my parents are baby boomers, didn't really realize all the bold stuff you all did. You just had to do it. But when you sit and reflect, circling back to the reflecting, you kind of go, wow, that was pretty bold.
It was bold. And I just say yes. And then I think, okay, it scares me, but it's good.
You know, well, thank you. Thank you for being bold on here.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to seeing you more in TV and film.
Thank you.
And have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Dance Dad with John Corella. Thank you to everyone at Hivecast for all that you do. And if this episode meant something to you, please share it and subscribe. Also, you can follow Dance Dad with John Corella on all platforms. But most importantly, remember to be bold and be fierce.